So I'll tell you, I'll kind of introduce what's going on. So Gerry and I ran the program in Rome last year. This was all, and we have to say this is all Gerry. He kind of got the ball rolling. He coordinated with people from St. John's University in New York, because that's the campus that we used in Rome. And then Bethany was our total point person. And I do have to say that the program would have fallen apart if we didn't have Bethany to handle all the details. All I did was go and teach a class and have a lot of fun.
And she was really awesome at it. So.
Well, and so Jordan is one of the students who came with us last year. So between the four of us, we can kind of, what we'd really like to do, I think, is just answer questions and talk about it. So last year was Rome, and of course Jancosek also happened last year. They had a talk on that, I think.
We're having one next week.
So, coming up next week. So if you're interested in that one in particular, you can come to that one. And then this coming summer, the programs will be in Paris and Jancosek. I think the Paris experience and the Rome experience will probably be kind of similar, so you can take what we talk about here today and kind of apply it. But basically, I think it was a lot of fun. Essentially what we did was we went for 2 weeks to Rome. The classes ran every other day, so there was 2 classes and they ran every other day. So for instance, the first week I taught Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the second week was Monday, Wednesday, Friday the first week, and Tuesday, Thursday the second week. And the classes went from 9 to noon, and then you had the rest of the day and every off day to yourself. So everybody also had a long weekend in the middle and things like that. So there's plenty of time to just kind of go out, go sightseeing. People went everywhere. And Jordan, you can talk about some of the stuff that you guys did, like non-class related too. But I mean, people went to Florence, people went on wine tastings. Did you do the cooking course?
I did, yeah.
So, yeah, they took a cooking class one weekend. And, so there was lots of stuff going on. But the classes, I think, is probably what I should talk about. The way that we ran it and the way that I think it'll probably go most of the time in the future is we started the class online a week or 2 before we left. And really all that entailed for my class, and I think it was similar for Gerry's, was getting the readings and assignments out to people so you could get started ahead of time if you wanted to. And doing some online introductions and things like that, so that by the time we all got to Rome, we all knew each other. And so those are the kinds of things that we were doing. And the assignments, let me just put it this way. The classes are the content is the same as it would be if you were here in Boston and if we were doing it in a full semester. But we're also really cognizant of the fact that this is study abroad and we're in a really exciting place. And so I think we tried to keep it manageable. So we had the 9 to noon class meeting. There was in my class, a couple of short papers and then one longer paper that was due after everybody got back. So we really did try to make sure that there was plenty of time for people to get out and explore. In addition to the classes, we had a welcome dinner the day that the day after we arrived. So we all went out together, and Simmons covered that, and we had a farewell dinner the night before we left. And then we had a couple of really cool field trips. We went to the United Nations actually has a branch in Rome for the Food and Agriculture Organization. And it just happened that the librarian there is actually doing an online postmasters here at Simmons. So she got in touch with us and she gave us a really cool tour of the UN library and of their archives. And she let us know that they have positions opening up over the next few years, anticipated openings.
Your boys like that?
My boys, yeah, with their soccer shirts on. That's all they got when I went to Italy. They stayed home and got soccer shirts. So we did that. We had a tour of the Vatican, which was pretty nice. We had an impromptu tour of Castel San Angelo, which was also interesting. And other than that, those were sort of the scheduled tours. Other than that, we also got 2 different passes. So the first week that we were there, we got a 2-day hop-on, hop-off bus pass that you could take that went to lots of different sites in the city. And then the second week, we got the Roma pass, which I think was fantastic. That actually gave you access to all of the metro, the buses, and the subway. It got you 2 free into 2 museums for free, and then there was discounts on a lot of other things. So I think that that's kind of the overview. And so Jordan, you want to tell them a little bit about kind of the student aspect?
Yeah, so how many of you guys have been abroad before?
Have or have not?
Have been abroad before? Yeah, like a study abroad program, or even just been to Europe. I felt that this is my second time going abroad and going back to Italy, and what I liked more about this time was the freedom that you sort of got to go and do your own activities, as well as taking an amazing course. I can't stress how much I learned and how great Gerry and Laura were, and the way they designed their classroom discussions. I was never bored. I was always interested in the material, and you guys will definitely get the same experience if you go back to Paris. So I'm sure you want to hear about all the fun things that I did. So one thing Bethany organized, 3 of us went to do a cooking class with Chef Fabio, who he runs a cooking class out of his 5 apartments, and it was great. We got to go. We learned how to cook 5 or 6 different recipes. Got a ton of wine, which was awesome. We also organized a wine tasting. We went and did as a big group. We went outside to the small city of Orvieto, which is about 20, 40 minutes south of Rome. So that was really awesome. And yeah, it was a great experience. I would do it again in a heartbeat. What you're paying for may seem like a lot of money at the time, but what you get out of it, I mean, you're not going to be able to go to Europe for cheaper than $3,600. Your plane ticket's paid for. You get all these awesome additional museum passes and stuff like that. I brought probably an extra $1,000, which translated into about 700 euro, because you do have to pay for most of your own meals, except for the welcome and farewell dinners. All of those are totally worth Simmons paying for them. Again, a lot of wine, but we also had some really awesome food. But yeah, that covered most of my food, extracurricular things that I did, and I even had money left over for souvenirs. So it's really up to you depending on what you want to spend your extra money on. But it's a great way. I don't know how many of you are in the dual degree program, but that program, if you're doing it, is very limited with your schedule and how many classes you're allowed to take. And I mean, I got to go and take an awesome course in 3 weeks, and then did it in Rome. So if you're going to take a summer course, yeah. Yes, Gerry, question.
Addition. Rome is different than Paris, obviously. Different still from Hussey. Bethany was a champ. She did so much work figuring out where to go and have fun. That's the first thing. Second, you have plenty of time to do your own thing. That's very important too, because you're going all the way over there. I think this time breakfast is included.
Was what?
Breakfast is included.
Yeah.
You mean in 2014?
Yeah. Yeah. So we try to, because we keep in mind our programs are for graduate students, right? And the difference between this and undergrad programs are structured in a way that are very all right, you're waking up, you have class from 9 to noon, and then you have lunch from noon to 1, and then everybody, and that's not the way we do it, because we understand that, we'll give you activities if you want to do that and hang with the group, you can do that. But if you're, we had a few people in our group who were just independent, they wanted to go off on their own and see some things that other students really weren't interested in, that's fine, you can do that. And we really try to set up all of our programs with that in mind, so that you can have as much freedom and flexibility as you want. Or you can really get a group experience and the whole time just stay with GSLIS and get a lot out of that as well. We're also pretty flexible too. I know one day the students all wanted to go together to, I don't remember what museum, was it Borghese, Gallery Borghese, and they asked if Gerry could move his class to a different space or time, and they welcomed that at the beginning. They said, we're in Rome, we're meeting from this time every day, but if you want to have class discussion anywhere in Rome or at a different time, we're open to that discussion. And so at one point that actually did happen where the group wanted to go together. So the class was moved times, and that was completely fine. So with a smaller group, you get that flexibility. We're not there to tell you where to go and when. Yes, Gerry.
Let me tell you about Paris. Who's been to Paris before? You have, excellent. How long have you been there? How much time did you get to spend?
It was 2 days.
Oh, okay. You saw the Eiffel Tower. Okay.
A couple weeks.
Oh, even better. How about you?
Spent junior summer abroad, Paris, and then my daughter actually spent a year in Paris, so I 2 years ago, I went 3 times for a week each and
Oh, good.
crashed in her homestay.
Perfect. A variety of things. One advantage, well, I will do 470, visual communication. Jim Moderato does,
Corporate libraries.
thank you, corporate library. And he knows everybody. I'm sure he has something planned to bring you on a trip. I, on the other hand, want to use Paris like a living museum. So we read about materials beforehand, but then you get to go and manhandle it. So as far as I'm concerned, what I hope to do is, yes, they'll do the Louvre, because you can't. All your friends, the first thing they'll ask you, go to the Louvre? Yes. Second question they'll ask you is, did you go to the Musée d'Orsay? Yes. Third thing they'll ask you is, did you go to the Eiffel Tower? Of course you did. 5, go to Notre Dame? Yes. Well, after a while, how do you string all these things together? Well, you read all this stuff, and then you can go to the Musée de la Publicité or the Louvre. But I love to do 2 things in Paris. To take the bateau mouche on the river, which would be a great place for a farewell dinner or a welcome dinner, kind of upscale. And the second thing to do is to get out in the street, go for a picnic. I know a great place called Fauchon where you can buy some food. And I always buy a bottle of Vieux Clicquot, and I go to the original Roman amphitheater where Paris was founded, the Reine de l'Hôtesse. And I sit there, usually with a book, my bottle of champagne, my picnic lunch. And one day a cop walked by me and he looked. I was reading Harry Potter, believe it or not. So he looked at the Harry Potter book, looked at my open bottle of champagne and my food, and just says, "Bon appetit," and he walked away. So it's a different point of view. So you get to read about it, see it, and experience it. And with Bethany, and George, I hope she'll come back, you get to, I'm kind of working on it. You don't quite get junior year abroad, although you get a lot of fun. And with Bethany, making sure the social life doesn't drag, that's a lot of fun. Again, you read ahead of time, have class, and then you write a paper or something at the end. Something to show that you can integrate the whole. Something that generally it's good to build something like a portfolio item. So when you go out on a job interview, they say, "What have you got for a 20-minute talk?" You pull it right out, here you go, which is a very good thing to do. We will regret not having Laura there. She was so kind, she brought me to meet her family.
Well, I don't have family in Paris anyway, so even if I came, I couldn't.
Well, you don't
Yeah,
have
we
to
fed
speak
Gerry
French.
dinner.
Oh, it was great. Everything was great, actually. I speak French, you don't have to. They all
That was
speak
nice.
it.
Both of them speak Italian, so when we were there, that was very helpful getting around. So, I mean, a lot of people do speak English, obviously, in Rome, and will speak English in Paris, but it definitely is nice to have instructors that know what they're doing and are familiar with the culture and can really guide the group, because that was helpful even to those of us who've spent time, in Rome. Having them to guide us around made me feel a lot more like you could get the full advantage of those cultures, because we met a lot of, and the places that we visited, like the Fowl Tour and the Vatican. Obviously, if you have someone that is from the culture and speaks the language, you're getting a lot more out of it. But also just we would meet, we'd go out together, again, just to Enoteca, get wine and meet strangers. And like we would tell them what we were doing, what we were doing in Rome. And it was great to be able to have like conversations with them, at least in a mediated way. So that was a really interesting experience as well.
So Gerry brought up a picnic. I have to say one of my favorite times in Rome. There was a group, you've seen the Last Supper picture, we'll show up here in a minute. A bunch of us had a good idea we were going to go see what were we supposed to see originally?
Via
The Appian Way. And like, okay, this is going to be fun. We went and saw a church beforehand. And like, all right, let's go find a grocery store and we'll get some wine, some food, some cheese. So from the church, it was about a 30-minute walk to a grocery store. So we're all starving by this point. It's like 2 o'clock, none of us had eaten. And we probably walked another good 30 or 40 minutes, like over a highway, over an underpass. At one point, Gerry just sits down on this patch of green grass, like in the middle of the highway, and tries to open his wine. And Bethany's like, "No, Gerry, we came this far, we're gonna keep going."
We're gonna get to our picnic spot.
And we never saw the Appian Way, but we went to this beautiful park, and we had an absolute blast. And so you're gonna have a lot of moments like that are gonna be awesome. And I also became very close with a lot of the people that I went on the trip with, which was really cool because the program here at GSLIS is so large that I feel like you get to meet maybe a quarter of everyone who goes here, and you get to know your professors so well, you get to know everyone in the group so well, and if you go for nothing else, I mean, go for that. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely get to know, obviously, the faculty a lot better, which is great.
Yeah.
And then two, we did learn about so many job opportunities, you know, and when we went to FAL, she was like,
There.
come, please come, yeah, there's for sure. She was like, please come work at FAL, like, we're gonna have interns, like, we really need your help, like, so people are really energetic about talking to you about what you do at GSLIS, and so if you are thinking at some point, maybe you wanna work internationally, I definitely encourage it, because you're gonna meet a lot of people who are gonna be in a position to help you, especially with the faculty coming along and helping.
One last thing, dormitories. St. John's University has a dormitory. They're a St. Vincent de Paul associated school, and so over the years, with less nuns and less priests, but with buildings, so now they have, in Paris, a building that's U-shaped.
That's good.
On one side is an actual monastery. I don't know how many guys are in there. The other side is a dining room, classrooms, and 4 stories of dorms. And you can do anything you want there except bother the monks.
Except,
Bother the monks.
Yeah. We live
Okay.
in the same building.
It is right across the street from a hospital, which is nice. And it's just on the border of the 5th and 6th, or 6th and 7th arrondissement. So if you go out of the building, turn right, walk about 15 minutes, you get the Jardin de Luxembourg Gardens, which is a great place to hang out. It's magnificent, because Paris is hot in the summertime. This is a magnificent park. And you can take the RER to Versailles, or any of the little towns within a half an hour. They get out of the city, which is a lot of fun. What else? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Don't be
Yeah.
deterred by the living in a dorm thing. I know a lot of us haven't done that since we were in undergrad,
Yeah.
but it was totally fine. They try and scare you a little bit when you come in. We had a pretty intense talk about what we
Whole
could,
session.
what we couldn't do, and they know you guys are all, you know,
Yeah.
competent, mature
And that you-
20-somethings.
I wish.
And honestly, it was kind of easy and nice, and
Yeah, St. John's, they're great hosts. I mean, they have a library program, they're in New York, but they have property in Rome and in Paris. And that's who we're partnered with, which works really well because they're on site to help with whatever needs that might arise while you're living in the dorms. Yes, they're dorms, they're not anything luxurious, but the point is not to go stay in a dorm, obviously. And they're very affordable, especially for the destination and the location. We're both in Rome and in Paris. For the price, you can't beat it, and there's no reason you'd want to pay more to like do what we're doing there. So they have a residence director, they have very good security, you get like an ID badge, you have to like, you know, buzz yourself in and when you leave and everything like that, and yeah, they're just really helpful. Anywhere you need to go, we could go down and be like, oh, we're looking for a spot for lunch, what do you recommend? And they were pretty helpful in that. They had a study room, they had a computer room with printers. So definitely the campus is really nice. They do have a lot of, like Jordan said, kind of weird rules like no alcohol in your room. And they try to like, you know, set the ground rules early on because they do have a lot of undergraduates. So it's understandable, and they are a Catholic-based university. However, we had zero issues with any of the rules. That it didn't, you know, deter anything that we were trying to accomplish. So
Yeah, I think it was actually, I mean, Gerry and I were in a hotel, but it was nice. The campus was really centrally located. It was really easy to get around, and it sounds like it'll be the same thing in Paris. But I just wanted to kind of second what Jordan was saying. I think the best part was just how much we were able to just kind of socialize and get to know one another. There were people from all different parts of the program. I mean, we had people from archives, there was cultural heritage, there was general library, and we all kind of got to spend some time together. Gerry and I hosted a little dinner at the hotel one night. That was kind of fun. You know, we just kind of got some food together. But then things would happen, like Bethany was saying, you know, the students would plan things just kind of impromptu after classes, like some of us are going to do this if anyone wants to go along. And, you know, the faculty, I think, are really open to doing things like that, too. So, like, one day after class, a few people wanted to go to Ostia Antico, which is just sort of like this, you know, it's like a Pompeii-like place right outside of Rome. And, you know, it was one of the early days. I said to them, like, do you feel comfortable going by yourself? Would you like me to come? And they were like, yeah, we want you to come. So I went, and, like, it was really fun, just kind of on the spur of the moment. Or, you know, similarly, one day as we were coming back from someplace else, we passed the National Library in Rome, and one of the students wanted to stop, so I stopped with her. And those kinds of things are really fun, too, because for instance, seeing the National Library of Rome, I don't have a single picture of it because we practically had to like sign our firstborn children away to get into the library. It was amazing. They took all of our stuff, all of our bags, our passports, and it was amazing. But it was really kind of neat to walk around in there and to see the way it was set up and to see the kind of security we had to go through to get in there. Whereas like you could walk into the BPL, not that that's a national library, but just the fact that like our libraries are a little bit differently. So yeah, I think it was a lot of fun. Do you guys have any?
Yeah. Just on a tangent about the libraries in Paris. The Bibliothèque Nationale, BN, is the main one, which is next door to the Archives Nationales. You kind of have to have a letter of recommendation to go in there. They don't like just showing up. I found out the hard way.
Yeah.
Second thing is, in the Place Beaubourg, which is in the right side, right bank, it's a fun place to go, place to see, be seen. But right next to it is the Centre Pompidou, the George Pompidou Center. Great, if you like that kind of stuff. Postmodern building, and a very small library in there. Down the river is the Bibliothèque Mitterrand. These are strange 4 L-shaped buildings that are not connected except at the bottom floor. So you go down, go over. It's very, very odd. So you get another take on it. Second thing is, all the library stuff and archive stuff has a different democratic purpose. For example, in Rome, it was really weird to see all the elections published on paper. So to complete transparency, here are the laws that have been changed. All the laws that have been changed were posted everywhere. It's really a different way of doing things. What else? One second. Louvre. A lot of the places are open for free 1 day a week, which is nice, even if you have a pass. But you have to get it early. So some people aren't really morning folk, but it helps to avoid the lines to get up early. And I think it's a completely safe city. I've never had a problem there. Go anywhere you want, no one will give you a hard time. It's fun to walk along the river, so you will have plenty of time to play. But the playing, fortunately, for visual communication, kind of feeds into what you're studying. Now, do you all have any questions?
Are there any like prerequisite with courses or anything? Or do you have to be a certain year in the program?
That is an excellent question. I suppose it depends to some extent on which courses are being offered, but for the most part, I don't think any of the ones.
None of those
being
have a
offered.
prerequisite.
Generally, no, but you need to have taken 12 credit hours prior to traveling abroad. So, I mean, between now and next summer, if you're applying for summer program, you need to need at least 12 credit hours. And depending on, too, if you're like dual degree and if the courses fit in your schedule. That being said, too, we did have one of our online archive students come to Rome who had never met. I mean, this for her was an amazing experience because she had just started the archives program and had never taken a class with her colleagues before and got to come to Rome with us. And Jeanette, who runs the program, was really flexible with her and trying to fit one of those courses into the archives program. So we're definitely willing to work with you, but yeah, 12 credit hours is kind of what we just say.
How many semesters is that?
It's 4 classes.
Oh yeah.
Travel, I meant to say, when to get over there, a lot of folks stayed there and did other trips. That's totally cool.
Yeah.
I just have a thing to add in. Last week, Skirt went to go see the French Cultural Center, and we got a tour from the head librarian, Marie, and we talked about how libraries work in France and how the library is all set up. But we learned that for students, it is $70 for a year to become a member, and they do offer different levels of courses of French. If anyone thinks that might be useful, it is useful. There's also discounts for any events that the French Cultural Center hosts.
That's
So it is
Française?
The
great.
French Cultural Center is also the Alliance Française in
Yeah.
Boston?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
They're all
our
one
social.
level.
Yeah, I'm taking a language class there. It's a really good
Oh, really?
system.
Excellent.
Yeah, and it's like an immersion program, so it really builds well.
It's very near the Arlington station, so
Yeah,
it's
right.
easy to get to, and you don't have to be a member to browse the library, but to check things out, you have to be a member.
That's not a bad price.
Yeah.
We can conduct class in French if you like. Keep you on the toes.
Is anybody thinking about going to Paris or Seoul? Okay, good. Do you want me to talk about just like general cost things? I mean, I'm going to talk about that at the study abroad info session, and if you're thinking about it, I definitely urge you to come. If you can't make it, we're gonna record it and make sure that you get the video, so you get the information.
When is
Because
it?
it's November 14th, it's on a Wednesday, 4:30 to 6. And we will have the instructors who are going abroad for both programs come and speak about what their courses will be more specifically. And in general, so what is included in the cost is your airfare, the cost of the dorm. For Paris, you'll have breakfast every morning, farewell dinner, welcome dinner, local ground transportation, so like metro buses, a few museum passes, health insurance, which is required by the school that you have, and I believe that's it. So the things that wouldn't be covered would be, in Paris, lunch and dinner are on your own. We have the option of including that in the program, but we find that people don't want to be prescribed to where they eat every meal, which at this level, I don't think so. Same with Seoul, it'll be exactly the same except you don't get breakfast included. So all the meals are on your own. Any like extended trip, a long weekend trip you might want to take, that's kind of up to you as well. But the majority of it, is once you pay the program cost, which it is different, it's around $3,000 for Seoul and about $3,600 for Paris. And you pay a deposit like in the spring semester, and I'll go over like the timelines for when these things would be due. And tuition is not included in the program cost. There are ways that you can take out financial aid that will go towards the program cost and the tuition. And again, that's something that we'll get into. It's a lot easier than it sounds. I know that's like terrifying, but most of the students who went to Rome and Seoul use financial aid to help cover their costs. So that's something that we'll talk about in greater length, but don't let it scare you, because for how long we're there and for how cheap the dorms are, it really is an amazing deal. Like when you add up everything, if you were to go on your own, the program cost is significantly cheaper, and you're getting coursework out of the way, which you would have to pay for anyways.
Right.
So you just get to do it in a better spot.
So that fee doesn't include your 3 credits, though, right?
It doesn't, no, it's
No.
including basically you're living there and you're getting there, a few meals, getting around while you're there, and your health insurance. So, separate from the tuition cost.
Right.
Which airline are you going to take? Are you doing the same company last
We're not
time?
sure, airfare is something we'll sort of figure out as we get closer, but
I will say Air France, if you have 10 or more, you get a deal.
yeah, I mean, we obviously look into the cheapest thing, but we sort of pre-budget what
Oh.
we anticipate the costs are gonna be, so.
And like Gerry mentioned earlier, Study Abroad likes everybody to go over on the same flight, which I think is actually kind of nice. So for instance, when we arrived in Rome, there was a bus there to pick us up and transport us to the dorms and the hotel and stuff. But then once you're there, you can adjust your coming home flight. So some people did stay longer, they took other trips and went other places. So it's a good option to extend it if you want. But I would definitely second what Bethany and Jordan were saying, that for the price, it's really good. You get a lot out of it. And the things that you do have to cover on your own, as Jordan was saying, lunch and dinner, things like that, you can do that really reasonably. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Any other questions?
It precludes summer classes here, correct? Calendar-wise.
What's that?
Going abroad precludes registering for a summer class here, correct?
So the
That's
way
number one.
Well, the way it works is, so in order to be eligible for financial aid over like the summer, you have to take 6 credit hours over summer. That's whether you go abroad or if you stay here. So you can take 6 credit hours while you study abroad, but we don't recommend
And then
it.
you'll never see anything, right? Because if you're taking one course, then every other day.
A couple people in Rome did take 2, and they, you still definitely have some time, but it would probably make sense.
You lose the mornings. You lose 5 mornings if you do both
If I'm looking at the
classes.
schedule correctly, I think you can still take a regular summer course.
By the time you get back,
Back.
it doesn't start till the end of
Right.
June, or it ends at the end of July, because they're going in July this year, right?
Right.
We're leaving late July and coming back, and I think it's like July 31st, coming back
Right.
on August
For
18th.
Right.
Paris?
So essentially,
Paris.
you could still take a regular
went to
summer
Oklahoma.
course on campus, and this would not get in the way of it.
The summer courses end before that?
Right, and
There
we
are,
also, we did this last year, I'm assuming we'll do it again this year, we've offered some short courses on campus in the summer too.
As well as online classes, we
Yeah.
have students taking one.
I fit in 3 separate courses
Really?
throughout the summer. One started and one started and ended, and even then I went to South Korea. It all
Yeah,
works.
so
It can
it's
make it
definitely possible to make it work.
And
Yeah.
the Korean course, you do some of the coursework before you go.
All of them.
All of them you do.
Right.
All,
Yeah,
yeah, all of
most
our
of them
study
start.
abroads are kind of, we try to set them up the same way, in which really the idea is to give you like maximum, obviously, instruction that you would get here, but doing a lot of it up front. And
Yeah,
so
front
once you
loaded.
get there, you're spending less time in class and more time in the city. So they're both set up the same way. Just different courses are offered. Visual communication, the corporate libraries in Paris, and this year management and ethics will be offered in Korea.
What's like the cap on how many people who can go?
That's an excellent question that thankfully we've never run into so far. With Paris, we may. We actually allow students from other library schools to come on our study abroad programs, just like there are a few study abroad programs that you guys are able to take advantage of at other library schools. We actually did have someone from URI who came with Allison and I to Korea this year and took the course and took it back to her home institution for credit. So we do allow that to happen, but if we're getting significantly high numbers of applicants, then we don't allow other schools to participate, depending on the space that we have available. Obviously, the priority is for our students. So I'll just say we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but we're really gonna try to take as many people who are eligible. You do have to fill out an essay for the application, which again, I'll go over this in detail at the info session. It's not anything to be scared about. It's a really simple essay. It just explains like why this is gonna be a valuable experience for you. And let's say, for example, we had an extreme amount of applicants. We would sort of look at like how many credit hours you had and what you would need to graduate as maybe the prioritizing factors as well as your reason for wanting to study abroad. Hopefully, that won't be an issue. Again, we're gonna try to take as many students as we can reasonably accommodate. Maybe around 20 seems like a reasonable number, but Rome was the biggest group we've had so far, and it was 13 students,
And
which
that
was a great number.
nice number.
Yeah.
Very good number. It wasn't too big and it
Perfect for
wasn't
the
so small. It was,
last
Exactly.
Yeah.
what was it?
Perfect for your last supper photo.
Exactly.
If you look at the, tangent, if you look at the 470 homepage, that's the full term, and they really shove a lot of stuff in there. The traveling version, I took the link down, put it back up, you'll see it's a lot, frankly, lighter. And there are different sets of readings too.
So the link is, right now, is to the class homepage from the travel site? Yes.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
full year version, but the short version, I'll put that link back up.
Are there any other questions about like, yeah?
When will Simmons decide if they're doing Italy again in 2015?
I mean, the goal is to do that. We're trying to get on a cycle where we do every other year and, Paris, Rome, Paris, Rome, Paris, Rome. So, and really it just depends on the success of the programs, and that all depends on the student experience. With Rome, it was great. We had great student reviews and people were really excited, and some people who went to Rome are gonna go to Paris next summer. On whether we offer these programs just depend on the student demand for them. If people want more study abroad programs, we're happy to offer them. So we're trying to, yes.
So if I'm a new GSLIS student, I have to kind of slow down on the class registration to still be eligible for Italy. I will be done with these people.
Yeah, and we do offer Seoul every year.
Plan it accordingly.
Yeah, you can, yeah. And there might be more opportunities for different destinations in the future.
Yeah.
We may add other opportunities. We kind of go by year and see what, who our partners are in different library schools. And right now, St. John's has been a really great partner for us, so.
And they overlap this year, right?
They go at the same time, so
Yeah, I think I was
unfortunately,
looking at that.
couldn't go to both.
Not that it's financially a good idea,
We
but.
did.
Yeah, we've never had anyone, and that was the question is we were worried
starts a
about.
week before the
I'm
next.
going to ask
Oh,
about doing them.
Really,
I
it's so
would
funny
have.
because we've
I would
never
have.
had that, and we were like, oh, these overlap, but also it's funny because it somehow seems that the students who are interested in going to Europe over the students who are interested in going to Asia. I mean, it's wild. I can't even explain how different the experiences are. I mean, wow. So sometimes it's not the same group of students who want to do both things, but that is awesome. I'll keep that in mind for, I guess, future
I
planning.
was disappointed when I found out they overlapped, but.
I'm sorry, I was looking this up so I wasn't hearing, but was it mentioned that the IFLA conference is going to be taking place while you're going to be in Paris?
IFLA is in France this year, and it will be in Paris right around the same time. So
Yeah.
if people wanted to go to the IFLA conference, it's a totally doable side trip.
That is
Good
a great point, yeah.
If you look at travel, Strasbourg is only 2 hours away. I was hoping to do Germany next year. There's no, we're committed to Italy, so.
That's a good point though. If you are interested in something that we don't offer, like if you're really dead set on going to London,
Yeah.
actually one of our students did through University of Mississippi, I believe. And she'll be at the info session just to talk about how her experience going to get transfer credit. So there are a few study abroad programs. I know UNC, I believe Prague, a few others that we pre-approve those courses for you for transfer. So if you want to participate, obviously you have to work through their sort of requirements and what they might require you to go. But we'll happily accept those transfer credits. So if you're interested in those opportunities, you can let me know and I'll pass along that information.
Any kind of fears or any kind of hopes?
Here's hopes, dreams, frustrations.
It's really great. Again, from a student perspective, I went abroad when I was a junior, and I hate to say this because I really enjoyed that time, but this was better. You're older, you have more fun, you have more freedom, and the classes, I think, were very intellectually stimulating too. So.
Cool.
What an if.
All right, well, thanks for coming, and feel free to, there's plenty of food left, obviously,
Yeah,
like,
thank you, Bethany.
take it back to your classes. If you have questions, please feel free to email me, GSLIS@simmons.edu.
Of course,